Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint with you today, and we are going to be painting a bird today in our watercolor journals. We're going to be doing a barn swallow, one of my favorite colors, combinations of birds, blue and orange with a little white and gray. Super beautiful bird, and they are just lovely. So I'm going to draw it and then we're going to paint it. I'm going to try to keep it simple for this video and not mess up too much. So be kind to me as I draw and paint. Okay, so we're going to start with the drawing. So birds are pretty simple in that they have two main shapes that kind of come together to make up the body, and then you add on a bunch of these little shapes, simple shapes, to create kind of the whole look and feel. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to be painting, or we're going to draw an oval up here. Okay, so that oval, let me draw it darker. I always forget, got to draw darker on camera, is going to be the head. And our barn swallow is actually going to be facing this way, and their body is going to be this way. So it's going to be like looking over his shoulder. All right, so then the body, okay, is going to be another oval like this. All right, so when you're looking at a photo of a bird, try to pick out those two main shapes and kind of how they're arranged next to each other. So you have the body, which is an oval, and the head, which is an oval. And I know this does not look like a bird yet, but then we just kind of bring them around like this one to connect to them. All right, and then on this particular one, we're going to have our feather, our wing is going to be, here's the shoulder shape. So again, his head is kind of crooked around looking in this direction. His body's going in this direction. Then this is the wing, but then under the wing, there's like this other really long part. It's going to kind of stick out this way from under the wing, and then the tail feather. They have these really dramatic, like you ever see them fly in the sky, and they have these really dramatic wings with the long sections, and then the tail feathers, and they're beautiful. All right, so that kind of looks like a bird, right? Okay, it's feeling bird-like. And then we're just going to start to refine it. So I'm going to chop off a little bit here, and then he's going to be looking up this way. So his beaks are generally just different versions of a diamond shape. Some with a little roundedness. This is going to go further up this way. Okay, let me get my eraser in here. I have my kneaded eraser. And then this little birdie's beak kind of goes into a pattern here that goes right into the eye. So there's like a line here and a pattern that goes over the eye in the patterning of, like, it's this black color here. And the rest of most of its head is blue. The wing is going to be blue, and then it has usually this breast kind of marking here. I went out a little wider. So making these fine adjustments as we go, and then you get rid of your inside lines, and then you can kind of see there we go. And then our barn swallow has some orange kind of under the head here. So we're going to mark that out. So this is going to be black. We're going to draw in a pupil with a highlight. And then it needs some legs, I suppose. So they're going to be these little shapes down here, like little scoopy, fluffy legs. But then they just turn into these little spindly little raptor claws. I'm explaining this so well for all of you. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, but at least you can watch and kind of see how I go through this. This would not be my strong suit, is explaining how I'm drawing everything. All right, so now I'm going to look at the overall shape. The head is feeling a little big for me. Just going to trim off a little bit of that edge. It was just feeling like it's feeling a little tall this way. Yes? No? Well, I don't want to erase. Oops. So sorry about the pull on there. I don't want to erase the whole thing. So we're going to go with it. But it does feel a little bit tall. So I would do that maybe over again if I wasn't on camera and feeling pressured to keep going. But overall, I think it looks okay. There we go. Okay, we're going to put our pencils down. 5 minutes. That's a pretty good amount of time to get this lovely little birdie on here. And now we're going to move to painting. I have a large brush, a size 10 and a size 4. I'm going to use them for different parts. This will be for more of the details and the eye a little bit later on. This will be kind of for the rest of it. We're going to start with the head. We're going to work our way down. So blue. Oh, and apparently I have some green on my brush. Sorry, it's going to get covered up. Blue up here, orange in here. This is going to be grayish white down here, mostly blue and black down here. So let's lay out our colors. So I am going to use ultramarine. This is a granulating color. If you hate granulating colors, ultramarine is not for you, but I love it. What else? We are going to use, I have a transparent pyrrole orange in here. I'm just going to go with that for my orange instead of making my own. Blue and orange, love those colors. A little Payne's gray. And we'll use that for the eye as well as dilute that for the feathers on the belly that are mostly white, but will have some shadows in them that are gray. And I could add a brown color, or I could just add some orange to my Payne's gray as I go to give it more of an orangey brown kind of tint to some of the white feathers underneath, or you can just keep it all gray. Let's get rid of green. We no longer need you, green. Okay. So let's pull out some of this beautiful ultramarine. Make sure you can see everything. Okay, so we're going to start at the top and put on a pretty light wash. And then we're going to add and build on some layers with darker color. So I'm going to get down here where it's jagged at the end, where I want to demonstrate feathers. So I'm going to keep my brush strokes jagged with the tip of my brush. Now this is also going to be blue, the wing. So I can go into there as well, but leaving some white space. And I'm even going to leave some lighter, very, very light space in this blue in the head. And that's going to serve as like highlights or sheen or shimmer to the feathers. All right, so let's go in with some darker blue now. And this will be wet on wet. So things are going to travel and move. Rinse my brush off. Right by the eye, I do want to make it kind of dark. All right, we're going to leave that as it is. We'll put on more later. Let me put on a little texture on the wing now. So I'm using a very dry brush, not a lot of paint on it, not a lot of water, because I want to get this streaky feather-like, layered feather feel to it. All right, let's leave that for now and move on to some Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray, lots of water, lots and lots and lots of water. Start under the wing. And again, the goal is for this to translate kind of white, but in shadows, so you're going to leave some white in there. And it's going to look super subtle right now. Right under the wing, it's going to be darkest. So you can just drop in more color there and let the paint do its thing. I might have gotten carried away. That's really dark, but look at that core paint go. This is why people hate core paint also, because it just travels so far and so fast. And I'm like, that's fine. I can just mop it up. But that's definitely personal preference, and depending on what you're painting and how you like to paint in your style. So no judgment here if core is not for you. All right, let's let that dry. And let's move to these tail feathers and wing tips. Nice bit of there we go. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to get into the orange up here. And then the beak is going to be Payne's Gray. The eye around is going to be all Payne's Gray. And you always kind of get to this stage and you're like, oh, my bird looks really funky. I don't know what's going on. It's okay. It's okay. A little darker shadow on the legs here. Okay, it's gonna be just about time to switch brushes. I'm gonna come in, this is pretty dry here. I'm gonna drop in a little bit darker color in a few spots. And now I'm going to switch to my other brush. My other brush has nothing on it right now. I'm just using what's on here to kind of pull out some of this texture and color. The paint that's already on the page and still wet, to create some feather-like textures. Definitely down on the edge here where it meets the white. when you're adding in feather-like texture, you don't have to add it everywhere. Feathers really lay nicely on top of each other and create very smooth surfaces, and usually you can just see the texture in a few spaces, and just enough will give the viewer the idea that these are feathers. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. I do kind of want to just join it right here at the edge of the head. All right, so now I'm gonna take my Payne's Gray. I'm gonna get into this area in here. And I'm gonna be very careful around the eye. So there's going to be several rings. There's going to be the outside ring, and then we're going to leave some white space, and then the inside pupil, and then a highlight. So there we go, starting to come together. I'm going to put a little Payne's Gray on the outside here. Okay, so we're going to leave a little light space. Outside, and then the pupil inside with a highlight inside it. There we go. Beautiful. Now, lighter Payne's Gray on the beak. I'm going to do a nice light. And then under on the bottom, it's going to be darker. And then once that dries, we will put a darker line kind of right in the middle here to separate the two. There we go. All right, so now you can go in and add more texture on top if you want. You could add, let's see, let's add a little more orange. Ooh, I went really dark, but that's okay. This could be fun. Let's blend it out with a little water. And we can leave light spots. And what else? What else? What else? Let's add a little more. Really dark here. That's okay. I think it's going to work to our advantage. These colors, or these birds are can be quite vibrant. I've seen gorgeous pictures of them. And they're super, super vibrant colors. But then they can also be very muted and kind of grayish blue. Putting some more shadowing under the wing here. And so for the feet, birds' feet always scare me. So I'm orange and Payne's Gray to make this kind of brown color. I'm just going to kind of outline the bottoms and blend it out into a lighter color. And I think it's because birds' feet scare me, because I feel like I have to do more than I actually have to do. There we go. We'll pretend there's a branch that he's sitting on. I think that's good. I think I am almost happy. We do have to finish this beak off with a line here, and I'll put a little more color underneath just to give it a little more shape. There we go. All right, I think we are done with our barn swallow. Thank you for joining me for this watercolor journal page. This little drawing and painting took a little longer than our normal paintings, but I think it was worth it. Thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to check out the description to links to supplies and materials that I use regularly, and like and subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend who you think would like to follow this watercolor journal journey. And we are done. This is our last page in this watercolor journal. So we are now going to have to go move on to the next one. I can't even flip the pages because my camera is too close. But there are lots of watercolor journal pages in here. Let's see. We did all of this in the last several days. So this has been 48 pages. So lots and lots that we did. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care, y'all. Happy painting. And I'll see you for our next watercolor journal page in our brand new watercolor journal. Take care, y'all.